Kathy Richards, RD, hopping on to answer a question that I've been getting a bit over the last few weeks. So the question is routine, like if we follow an eating routine, is that considered a food rule? And the question is important because we see more and more people online talking about intuitive eating. I've got the intuitive eating workbook that I'm going to be working through on my podcast this summer. And it talks about like letting go of diet culture and letting go of food rules. So then how does routine come in? Because if I've seen anything over the last 20 years in my practice, a lot of people feel safe and they feel comfort with having some type of routine. So I think I spoke last week about using like a calorie container or calorie counting with a few of my clients because they came to me already doing that. And that felt like a safe way for them to continue to move forward. So when I look at a food routine or an eating routine, it has an important role if you're trying to get back to intuitive eating. So what is intuitive eating? It's basically we're going back to how we used to eat as infants. So we would eat when we're hungry. We're not going to eat when we're full. But it's checking back in with your body cues. And the important thing to note is that if you've been restrictive eating or doing diets or following like juice cleanses, fasting, all these things over the years, it's very likely that you're not listening to your body's feedback anymore. So you may not have the ability to recognize, oh, I'm hungry. This is really hunger. Or, oh, I don't think I'm hungry. Like I just ate. I think I can leave that food. Like if we've been in a place where we've been like eating according to the clock or eating according to the rules, sometimes we can't actually hear our body, what it's saying to us. So in answer to the question, is an eating routine a food rule? Technically it is, but eating routines with a lot of my clients, it's about consistent eating, which is an important part of intuitive eating because you don't want to get to the point where you're over hungry and having longer periods of time and getting back in that restrictive mentality can set you up to be over hungry and then overeat. So I think routine falls into intuitive eating when you're first starting and getting used to eating consistently, getting used to feeling what it feels like to actually have your body say like, I'm hungry. So in that respect, routine is a food rule, kind of, but I shared on one of my reels lately, eating consistently every 3 hours, eating with the right balance of macros, it has great benefit for energy, for weight loss, for hormones. There's lots of benefits to eating in that manner. And we see lots of good outcomes if we're looking for weight loss or better energy, better sleep. There's so many reasons that eating consistently with the right balance of food works. And that's not necessarily a food rule that we wouldn't use as we're getting back into intuitive eating. So if you haven't heard, this summer on my podcast, I'm going to walk you through the 10 principles of intuitive eating. So I'll break it down into 10 episodes to keep it easy and bite-sized for you guys, no pun intended. But yeah, if you're thinking about like following some kind of set routine or balance at your meals, if it's not a restrictive approach and it's including all your macros and it's just setting you up to have more consistent energy, I'm going to say go with that because you may not have the body cues there and we have to kind of get back into that. So stay tuned this summer. Head on over to my website, kathyrichardsrd.com, if you want to listen along to the podcast episodes when I'm doing the intuitive eating series. I'll also be sharing client case studies, what's worked for my clients and what they're doing. And that's all over my podcast, Healthy Mompreneurs Get Wealthy. And I'm also still sharing my self-love journey back to health. All right, guys, have a fantastic week. And if you have any questions you want me to answer live, pop in my DMs, give me your question, and I'll hop on and answer it live. Thanks. Have a great day.